Okay, Bruce and Barb, are you ready?
Yep.
Heidi, you ready? All right, I think we're going to get
Ready.
started.
The world is sustained by the just in it. The light of justice and mercy has been passed on to us. Let us pass that light to our children, to each other, and to the peoples of the world. Be this our understanding of our covenant, to be a beacon of justice and mercy.
Good morning, and welcome to the First Unitarian Church of Des Moines digital service. I'm Reverend Amy Petrie Shaw. My pronouns are they, them, and theirs. And the theme for today's service is forgiveness. I'm speaking to you now from land that was the traditional territory of the indigenous Iowa people. Heidi Levine is our celebrant, Barb Martin is our song leader and soloist, Bruce Martin is our pianist, and Lynn George is this week's pastoral care associate. Our opening words today are adapted from The Longing for Something More by Reverend Gretchen Haley. Every little thing that breaks your heart is welcome here. We'll make space for it, give it its due time and praise for the wanting it represents, the longing for something more, some healing hope that remains not yet. We promise no magic, no making it all better, but offer only this circle of trust, this human community that remembers, though imperfectly, that sings and prays, though sometimes awkwardly, this gathering that loves, though not enough yet. We're still practicing. After all, still learning, still in need of help and partners, still becoming able to receive all this beauty and all these gifts that we bring. So come and let us be in community together here. Please keep your microphones muted during the entire service. After the service, we'll have a short coffee time with breakout sessions. We have to end that at 11:25 because we have an all-church meeting today to approve the budget. That meeting, you've been sent a link. It is not the same link. It's not the same Zoom. So at 11:30, please be on the other Zoom link for the whole church meeting. And again, we're so glad you're here.
Welcome to the First Unitarian Church of Des Moines digital service. My name is Heidi Levine. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and I am the celebrant for this morning's service. Whether you're with us for the day or here for a lifetime, we are glad that you have chosen to join us online. Everyone is welcome to join for a service, whether or not you live in Des Moines or have ever physically been at First Unitarian. Whoever you are, we hope that you will find something here today to help you on your life's journey. Our gathering song this morning is number 298, Wake Now My Senses. We'll be singing the first 3 verses. The words will be copied on the chat screen. Please keep your mics muted and simply sing along at home as you wish.
receiving as love shows us how. Wake now, my reason, reach out to the new. Join with each pilgrim who quest for the true. Honor the beauty and wisdom of time. Suffer the living and praise the sublime. Wake now, compassion, give heed to the cry. Voices of suffering fill the wide sky. Take as your neighbor, the stranger and friend, praying and striving their hardship to end.
Thank you so much, Bruce. Our Time for All Ages story this morning is Martha Doesn't Say Sorry by Samantha Berger. Bruce Watley's the illustrator, and it's read by Noma Loving, daughter of Crystal and Kurt Loving. So if you give me just a second.
Martha Doesn't Say Sorry by Samantha Berger, illustrated by Bruce Watley. There are many things that Martha does, but apologizing isn't one of them. She does give hugs, she does share a snack, she does make presents, and she does read stories. But Martha doesn't say sorry. Sometimes Martha does things that are not so nice. She sticks her tongue out, she throws things, she kicks pretty hard too, but Martha doesn't say sorry. One day, Martha does something not so nice to her mother, and her father, and her baby brother. Martha's really having a day. She gets a time out to think. She knows where it all went wrong. She really wants to make it right, but Martha doesn't say sorry. Martha does, however, want a cookie. But Martha's mother doesn't give cookies to people who don't say sorry. Martha does, however, want a piggyback ride, but Martha's father doesn't give piggyback rides to people who don't say they're sorry. Martha does, however, want a hug, but Martha's baby brother doesn't give hugs to people who don't say sorry. Fine, Martha does not have a cookie, a piggyback ride, or a hug. Who needs them anyway? Martha thinks it over. She thinks and thinks and thinks it over. Then she says something very, very, very softly. I'm sorry. But nobody hears her. She says it again just a tiny bit louder, but only a tiny bit. I'm sorry. But still no one hears her. So she says it again just a little bit louder. I'm sorry. What? Asked her mother. What? Asked her father. What? Asked her baby brother. I'm sorry. Martha's family is glad Martha says sorry. Deep down, Martha's glad too. Now every once in a while when Martha does something not so nice, Martha apologizes. I'm sorry, as nicely as she possibly can.
Our Faith in Action voice today is Catherine Vance. Catherine, if you're here, would you unmute, please? There you are.
Hello, everyone. I'm Catherine Vance, and I am one of the members of the Faith in Action team. I'm sorry, I have a 2-year-old in the background. He likes Faith in Action too. And I'm glad to be part of Faith in Action because it gives me the ability to do something in a world where I feel busy and it feels like the world is falling apart and I'm not quite sure what I can do. But we as a congregation have voted that we want to support our community partners, which this year are the Central Iowa Immigrant Community Support Fund and Planned Parenthood North Central States. So when you donate to the donation basket, half of that money goes to the church's social justice efforts and half is divided evenly between the Central Iowa Immigrant Community Support Fund and Planned Parenthood North Central States. So we hope you'll be involved this year. And the next opportunity to be involved, aside from donating money, is coming to our Planned Parenthood Trivia Night on Zoom this Friday evening at 7. We had the Central Iowa Immigrant Community Support Fund Trivia Night last Friday, and it was a blast. So we really hope you'll join us to learn more about Planned Parenthood this Friday. Thank you.
This song is taken from Gates of Repentance by Max Janowski. Who can say I am free? I have purified my great heart. There are none on earth. There are none on earth. A new heart I will give, not stone, but one that frees. A new heart I will give, and one that frees. May this day make us strong, like a tree of life with good fruit. Bless us now, amen. Bless us now, amen. May we now forgive, atone that we may live. May we now forgive, that we may live. May we now forgive, atone that we may live. May we now forgive, that we may live. Amen.
Thank you so much, Barb. That was beautiful. The pastor of a small church was explaining to a colleague how he'd managed to make his church solvent in a particularly difficult year. For a long time, he said, I prayed really hard for God to send us money. He said, but then I realized the Lord doesn't work that way. So what did you do? His colleague asked, looking around the well-decorated church. You certainly seem to be doing okay. Oh, that was easy, the first minister said. Once I realized the Lord just doesn't hand out cash, I robbed a bank and prayed like heck for forgiveness. As I am not particularly good at larceny, the morning offering will now be given and received through the link in the chat. One half of this electronic plate goes to the social justice programs of the church, and one half to our Faith in Action partner. Thank you. That was gorgeous. Our church isn't the building, it's the community. As a community of human hands and human hearts, we come together here to share our laughter and our tears and to bear witness and to minister to one another as we struggle with life's sorrows and celebrate life's joys. We had a sadness sent in. Susan Replinger fell at home and had a hip replacement. She's recovering at home. Email messages are welcome to the home address in the directory. I'd like to extend our thoughts and well wishes, prayers, and good energy to the people of Louisville, and especially to the UU Church of Louisville, Reverend Don Cooley's church. It's been a very long night there supporting the protesters. And at several points, they thought the police were going to rush the church. So please send good thoughts and good energy. Please feel free to share now in the chat the names of anyone you know who could use some special care and attention this week. And as we type their names into the chat, may the love of this community hold them all. May the light of our community shine on the broken places of the world. May we travel hand in hand with all of those who fight for equity and justice in human relations. May the work of our hands and our hearts support and comfort all those who are marginalized and oppressed, silenced, at risk. May we be called to mindful action by the needs of those who struggle against violence, pain, degradation, and destruction. May those who are grieving be comforted. May those who are tired find rest. May the broken places be healed. And may those who are filled with joy and laughter be abundant. Every week together, we light 3 candles. We light one for the joys and the sorrows we've shared here, and one for the names that we've written in the chat, and one last candle I'll light for all of the joys and all of the sorrows which we hold deeply in our hearts, but which have remained unspoken here today.
Our first reading is If I Can't Accept You at Your Worst, Then Maybe You Should Stop Being So Horrible by Matt Walsh. Newsflash, it's not okay to be selfish, impatient, and out of control. These traits, while common, are unacceptable. They should not be accepted, least of all by the people you claim to love. The onus is on you to change your behavior and your attitude, not on them to handle it. Are you such a gem that they should thank God for the opportunity to be emotionally abused by you, if only it earns them a chance to bask in the glow of your superiority? Perhaps that's how you see it, but I've never met anyone quite that charming. This philosophy is poison, and it stretches beyond one offensive quote from the 20th century Playboy bunny Marilyn Monroe. Often I read or hear people whine that they just want to find someone who will accept them no matter what. But being accepted should not be our relationship goal. Healthy relationships are loving, but also challenging, edifying, and even occasionally painful. Accept. Definition: to receive with approval or favor, to agree or consent to. Should our selfishness, impatience, and weakness preclude us from being loved? No. But should these traits be accepted? Should they be received with approval or favor? Should our loved ones consent to them? No. Big no. Enormous, loud, screaming no. Should we scoff at our husbands or wives or boyfriends or girlfriends and flippantly tell them to handle it as we behave in ways that will hurt and offend them? No. And if you think that, if you really think that, then you shouldn't be getting into relationships at all. You're not ready. Further, does our best, which probably isn't as great as we imagine it to be, make up for or negate our worst? No, your worst is your worst. Fix it. Be better. Nobody should have to put up with it, least of all the people you love. Love is a transformative force, and if you want to experience it, you better be ready to change in every way imaginable. My wife does not accept me, and thank God for that. She challenges me. She makes me better. In other words, she loves me.
Our meditation today is partially a musical one. The Avinu Malkeinu is a Jewish prayer, and it's recited during services on Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. We are heading into Yom Kippur, as well as on the 10 days of repentance in between those two dates. Joseph Hertz, the chief rabbi of the British Empire, described this as the oldest and most moving of all the litanies of the Jewish year. This is a plea for the divine of our understanding to forgive and understand all the things that we did wrong over the past year. And it's a reminder to come to terms with all of the people and the situations which have hurt us and to forgive as much as we can. So we're going to listen to the Park Avenue Synagogue's cantors, Shira Lisek and Rachel Brook. They're going to recite this. And when it's over, we will have 1 minute of silent meditation.
Avinu Malkeinu, Shema Koleinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Chaltanu lefanecha. Avinu Malkeinu, Chamol Aleinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Kali Dever,
Our second reading is adapted from I Want to Be Better by Reverend Dr. Howard Thurman. The concern which I lay bare today is my need to be better. I want to be better than I am in most ordinary day-by-day contacts, with my friends, with my family, with my casual contacts, with my business relations, with my associates in work and play. I want to be better than I am in the responsibilities that are mine. I am conscious of many petty resentments. I am conscious of increasing hostility toward certain people. I am conscious of the effort to be pleasing for effect, not because it is a genuine feeling on my part. I am conscious of a tendency to shift to other shoulders burdens that are clearly my own. I want to be better in the quality of my religious experience. I want to develop an honest and clear prayer life. I want to develop a sensitiveness to the call of the sacred in my own life. I want to develop a charitableness toward my fellows that is greater even than my most exaggerated pretensions. I want to be better than I am. I lay bare this need and this desire in the quietness of this moment. Our centering song today is number 1008, When Our Heart is in a Holy Place. The words will be in the chat screen. Please keep your mics muted.
When our hearts are in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we tell a story from deep inside, and we listen with a loving mind, and we hear our voices in each other's words, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we share the silence of the sacred space, and the God of our heart stirs within, and we feel the power of each other's faith, and our heart is in a holy place. And our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place.
Thank you, Barb and Bruce. The Jewish holiday of Yom Kippur, as I told the kids earlier this morning, might just as easily be called I'm Sorry Day or Let Me Try Again Day. You know, take a china plate and smash it on the ground. Sweep up, gather up all the pieces, even the tiny ones. Get every single piece. Look at that mess of broken bits and tell it you're sorry. And really, really mean that. Does it make the least bit of difference? Today we're going to talk a little bit about breaking and healing. We're also going to talk about burritos, wolves, and the Japanese art of kintsugi. But it wouldn't be one of my sermons if it didn't get a little weird. There's been a lot of conversation in the last 10 years about where Unitarian Universalism falls on the religious spectrum. And you hear all kinds of things. We're atheist, we're humanist, we're Christian, we're post-Christian, we're Protestant, we're post-Protestant, we're postmodern. We're not a religion, we're a movement. We're not a movement, we're a religion, we're a denomination. Whatever we are, what we're not is good at talking about what we do when we've screwed up and we've offended not against some kind of divine being, but against our own personal beliefs, our own values. We're not good at that. Other religions are better at it. For Christians, the answer is always Jesus, that Messiah who washes away all sin. For some of us, this makes sense, and for others, well, Jesus may have great meaning, but not a way to erase our wrongs. Judaism recognizes atonement too. Now, the last time I preached, it was about Rosh Hashanah, the Jewish New Year, the time when the year's done and you're ready to go. Well, Yom Kippur comes 10 days later. It's the day when you forgive and make it possible for others to forgive you at the same time. It's the day when you atone for your wrongs of the last year and you accept the atonement of other people. They've got something there with that idea, something that we need. Doesn't matter what you believe theologically Anybody can use this idea. It gives us a way to deal with the offenses we make against our beliefs, our divine image, other humans, ourselves. It gives us a way to deal with our mistakes without violating our belief in individual worth and dignity. There's a meme or an internet image that says, if you can't handle me at my worst, you don't deserve me at my best. The reading this morning said it pretty well. This isn't true. This isn't even healthy, but it has become part of popular culture. I'm selfish, impatient, a little insecure. I make mistakes. I'm out of control and at times hard to handle. But if you can't handle me at worst, then you don't deserve me at my best. That's the whole of the quote. They usually say Marilyn Monroe said it. That is a lie. But it's been around for 10 years or so. It's been turned into posters and tattoos. Especially a lot of younger women seem to think it's cute. It's completely wrong in almost every sense, and yet some people think it's profound. So let's talk a little bit about words like deserve and what we're owed as human beings, about what we owe others. And let's talk about forgiveness, because that's all wrapped in there. It's funny, as I was writing this sermon, I was thinking about errors or sins or whatever you want to call them and forgiveness. And I remembered when Chipotle Mexican Grill first opened near me, which was about 16 years ago. So here come the burritos in this sermon. You knew they were coming. If anyone here isn't familiar with Chipotle, they specialize in huge burritos. And when I say huge, I mean wrap it in a blanket, give it a name, and people think it's newborn. They're that big. They were the first burritos of that size anyone in my neighborhood had ever seen. And it quickly became a thing for some of the really athletic people that I worked with to eat a whole one in one sitting, double meat plus chips and salsa. This is a massive amount of food. So this really slender marathon runner from my office would run his noontime laps around the parking lot and then run up to Chipotle and he'd get one of these burritos. And he'd get his chips and his salsa. And it was like watching a National Geographic special about the feeding habits of wolves as he would eat this. Pounds of meat would just disappear before our eyes. And by the time this healthy, athletic guy stood up, you could see his belly bulging against his waistband. He was literally bulging with food, weighted down with all that he had taken into himself. And he couldn't run after lunch on those days for fear of getting sick. For 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 hours, he was pregnant with food, slow moving with that weight sitting on his gut. And then it would digest and he would be himself again. Food digests fast, and when I get full, it's a simple thing to wait a few hours and feel right again. But personal errors against your beliefs, that some call sins, when my life gets too full of those, too weighted down, digestion takes a little more effort. Our life burritos are full of families and jobs and friends and coworkers. They're sauced up with things like social media and spiced up with news blasts of politics and crime and punishment and sex and relationships. And day after day, we do our best. But the world is hectic, and sometimes we take bite after bite after bite after bite of life until we're the ones who feel like wolves at a kill. We stagger away with our bellies dragging the ground, too weighted down to move anymore from all of life that we've ingested. Seems very, very true right now. There's an old kid's story that some of you may know. A monkey sees a jar that's filled up with nuts, and he thrusts his hand into this big open mouth jar to grab a fistful, and he grabs as many as he can grab. but now his overloaded hand won't pull back out of the jar. The mouth isn't big enough. And since he's unwilling to let go of even one of these treats that he's grabbed, the poor monkey sits and cries. And he can't eat even one of them because he's got so many that he can't get his hand back. Relaxing our fists and letting go isn't easy, but sometimes it's the only way to enjoy anything at all. Our worst moments and our biggest errors, our gravest sins, they aren't some kind of a test to see if the people around us really love us. Tolerating other people's toxic behaviors doesn't mean we now deserve their best behaviors. We all deserve the best from each other all the time. We tolerate one another because we hope that we'll learn from our mistakes and learn to do better. But it isn't a test. To be our best, we have to willingly engage in the process of digestion, the process of processing our mistakes and doing better so that we can atone, we can make it as good as it gets. The ideas behind Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, it doesn't matter what dates you celebrate these on, as long as it's about a year from the last time you did it. Pick a date that works for you. January 1st is fine. That's fairly traditional in America. Actual Rosh Hashanah is fine. It's the end of the old, the time when you stop eating the burrito for a moment, the time when you recognize you can't withdraw your little monkey hand from the jar. Your belly's dragging the ground. You reclaim the power to let go. Whatever date you pick, you take a week or 10 days and you examine your previous year. Pick up the shreds and the shards of all the plates you've smashed. Digest that burrito. Stop eating for a minute. Stop taking in life. Spend 10 days thinking about life. When you're ready, after a few days of thought, that's your Yom Kippur, your day of atonement. It's the day when you empty yourself of all the weights you've been carrying, all the slights and screw-ups of your overflowing life. The day when you say, I'm sorry, and forgive me, and I forgive you. Just because you've done some bad things this year doesn't make you a bad person. There's a Jewish Yom Kippur prayer called the Kol Nidre, which means all vows, and it's a prayer that asks the divine to release us from all the sacred vows we made in the past year and to let us start fresh. Now, these aren't promises to people that it's talking about. It's promises we made to ourselves and to the world for how we would act in the world. Here's a rough translation of their prayer. In the court of heaven and the court of earth, with the permission of God, blessed be he, and by the permission of this holy congregation, we hold it lawful to pray with those who have erred. In other words, people who have screwed up, you're welcome here. God says so, I say so, the congregation says so. That's what the first part of their prayer means. All vows, obligations, oaths, and things we swore were forbidden by any name, which we may vow or swear or pledge, or whereby we may be bound from this day of atonement till the next, whose happy coming we await, we do repent. May they be deemed absolved, forgiven, annulled, and void, and made no effort. They shall not bind us nor have power over us. The vows shouldn't be reckoned vows. The obligations should not be obligatory, nor the oaths be oaths. And it shall be forgiven all the congregation of the children of Israel, and the stranger that travels among them, seeing all people were in ignorance. So what does that mean? It means that we recognize that people screw up, that we're imperfect, that we have no capacity for perfection. It means we're saying out loud, I promised stuff this year. I said that I had specific values and beliefs, and I didn't always live up to them. And I recognize this, and I should be forgiven, and I'm going to start over. What a great thing to say. It doesn't matter what belief system you are working within. For a humanist, this would be the time to think through, where have you fallen short of what you expected of yourself? Who do you need to say, I'm sorry to? How can you do better next year? For a Buddhist, it's a time for mindful contemplation of the past year's unskillful or unwholesome acts, a place to begin seeking greater wisdom. For a Wiccan, you might celebrate this at the turning of the wheel on one of the greater Sabbats. For a Christian, you might contemplate where you've fallen short of your personal beliefs and resolve to begin again. The specifics don't matter. The thing that does matter is willingness, both to forgive and to be forgiven, for there's moments when things didn't happen the way they should have. But this is where the problems start, where I clench my fists and hold on because I don't deserve forgiveness, or I don't think I get to say if I should be forgiven, because the people I'm thinking of don't deserve forgiveness, and I won't get my little monkey hand out of the jar. I don't want to let go. It doesn't work that way. I can keep punishing myself, but I can't control how the people I've wounded feel. If I'm sorry for what I've done and I recognize where I broke my vows to myself and my world, I resolve to do better. It's the best I can do. They will feel in agreement with that or they will not, but I can't control it. And I can try to punish others for what they've done for me. I can hold hatred and anger in my heart, and then what? I'm hate and anger filled, and they are still themselves. Doesn't impact them. Forgiveness of others isn't about whether or not they deserve it. It's about releasing their hold on my life. The burrito weighed me down. I digest it. It's gone. I pick up the plate I've broken. I collect every shard and every shred, and I say, I'm sorry. That's Rosh Hashanah. We talked about that last time. But then I go a step further. In Japan, there's an art form called kintsugi, the art of repairing with gold. I take that shattered plate and I use pure gold to form seams everywhere it's broken. I don't try to hide the damage, but I heal the cracks using something more precious than the original materials. And when I'm done, it's a priceless work of art. That is Yom Kippur. Mend your broken places beautifully and show not perfection, but recreation. That's Yom Kippur. Blessed be.
As we leave the community of the Spirit, may we remember this difficult lesson that each day offers more things than we can do. May we do what needs to be done, postpone what does not, and be at peace with what we can be and do. Therefore, may we learn to separate that which matters most and that which matters least of all. Our final song this morning is number 1000, Morning Has Come. The words will be in the chat screen. Please keep your mics muted and sing along as you wish.
Morning has come, arise and greet the day. Dance with joy and sing a song of gladness. The light of hope is shining. for the gift is given. Wonder like this moment shared together. The light of peace here shines upon each face. May it bring faith to guide us journey home. Open our eyes to see the life abounds. Open hearts to welcome it among us. The light of love here shines upon each face. May it bring faith to guide our journey home.
May the armor of our hearts be broken. May we be forgiven, and may we forgive. The service has ended, and your service in the world begins again. Peace, Ashe, and may it be so.